I invited my friend instead of you. He needs the break more, she said casually about the beach trip I'd paid for. You can go some other time. I didn't argue. I just stayed behind and made one quiet decision. Later that night, the party didn't end the way anyone expected. I, 30, male, had been with Rachel, 28, for 2 years. I was standing in my living room watching my girlfriend excitedly pack for a beach trip I had paid for. The only problem? She had just told me I was not invited anymore. Out of nowhere, she announced she was taking her friend Melissa instead because Melissa needed the break more than I did. I tried to process the words while she smiled like it was the most reasonable thing in the world. 2 days earlier, I had booked a premium oceanfront suite at Coral Bay Resort for our 2-year anniversary. The reservation cost me $1,847 for 3 nights, paid in full from my savings account. I had planned every detail. Dinner reservations at the rooftop restaurant, sunrise paddleboard rental, a couple's massage on Sunday morning. Rachel knew all of it. She had even helped me pick the dates. But on Thursday evening, while I was heating up leftovers, Rachel walked into the kitchen holding her phone. So I was thinking, she said casually, leaning against the counter. Melissa just broke up with Jake. She is devastated. I told her she could come with me to the beach this weekend instead of you. You understand, right? You can go some other time. I stood there with a spatula in my hand. The microwave beeped. You invited Melissa to our anniversary trip? I asked. Well, technically it is just a beach weekend, Rachel said, scrolling through her phone. And you will have other chances. Melissa really needs this right now. She has been crying for days. You are always so flexible about plans anyway. She did not ask. She informed. That weekend, the one I had saved for and planned around, had just been reassigned. And I was supposed to smile and accept it because I was the accommodating boyfriend who never made a fuss. I set the spatula down. My dinner did not matter anymore. What mattered was the credit card statement sitting in my email inbox with the Coral Bay Resort charge right at the top. Rachel and I met through mutual friends at a rooftop barbecue in the summer of 2023. She was charming, confident, and fun to be around. In the beginning, I liked how easygoing she seemed. She made decisions quickly. She took charge of plans. It felt refreshing after a string of relationships where I had to manage everything. But over time, easygoing turned into something else. Rachel did not ask for my opinion. She assumed I would go along with whatever she wanted. When her friends invited her to a concert on a night we had dinner plans, she just texted me change of plans and went to the show. When her sister needed help moving on the Saturday I had reserved for a hiking trip, Rachel told her I would drive the U-Haul without checking with me first. I never pushed back. I told myself it was not worth the argument. I convinced myself I was being supportive. But the truth was simpler. I had become background furniture in my own relationship. Still, I kept trying. I thought the anniversary trip would reset things. I researched resorts for weeks. I picked Coral Bay because Rachel had mentioned once, months earlier, that she loved the idea of waking up to ocean sounds. I wanted to show her I had been paying attention. I wanted her to see I cared. The booking confirmation arrived on a Tuesday afternoon. I forwarded it to Rachel with the subject line, "Can't wait." She replied with 3 heart emojis. For a moment, I felt like I had done something right. By Thursday night, that feeling was gone. After Rachel made her announcement in the kitchen, I did not argue. I did not raise my voice. I just looked at her and said, "Sure, whatever you think is best." She blinked, clearly surprised I had folded so quickly. "Really? You are okay with it?" "Yeah," I said. "You and Melissa have fun." Rachel smiled, relief washing over her face. "You are the best. I will make it up to you, I promise." She kissed me on the cheek and walked back to the bedroom, already texting Melissa the good news. I heard her laughing on the phone a few minutes later, talking about what bikinis to bring and whether they should rent a convertible. I sat down at my desk. I opened my laptop. I pulled up the Coral Bay Resort website and clicked on Manage Reservations. I entered the confirmation number. The reservation loaded on the screen. 3 nights, oceanfront suite, check-in Friday at 3 p.m. There was a button in the corner. Cancel reservation. I read the cancellation policy. Free cancellation up to 48 hours before check-in. Full refund processed within 5 to 7 business days. I checked the calendar. It was Thursday at 8:17 p.m. Check-in was Friday at 3 p.m. I was still within the window. I clicked the button. A confirmation screen appeared. "Are you sure you want to cancel?" I clicked yes. The reservation disappeared. A new email arrived in my inbox. Cancellation confirmed. Refund of $1,847 will be credited to your account ending in 4829. I closed the laptop. From the bedroom, I could hear Rachel on FaceTime with Melissa, both of them laughing about tequila sunrise drinks and sunrise yoga on the beach. I did not tell her what I had just done. I went to bed early. Friday morning, Rachel woke me up at 6:30 a.m. She was already dressed in a sundress and sandals, her weekend bag packed, and sitting by the door. Melissa was picking her up at 7 a.m. for the 2-hour drive to Coral Bay. You are still okay with this, right? Rachel asked, applying lip gloss in the hallway mirror. Totally fine, I said. Hope you guys have a great time. She hugged me quickly. I will send you pictures. Love you. Love you too, I said. Melissa's car honked outside. Rachel grabbed her bag, blew me a kiss, and walked out the door. I watched from the window as they loaded the trunk, laughing and taking selfies in the driveway. Then they drove away. I poured myself coffee. I sat on the couch. I waited. They would arrive at Coral Bay around 9 a.m. Check-in was at 3 p.m., but Rachel always liked to get there early, scope out the pool, maybe grab brunch at the resort cafe. I figured I would hear from her by 9:30 a.m. at the latest. At 9:42 a.m., my phone rang. Rachel. I let it ring 3 times before I answered. Hey, what's up? Connor. What the hell is going on? Her voice was sharp, strained. What do you mean? We are at Coral Bay. The front desk says there is no reservation under your name. They have nothing. No booking. No record. What happened? I took a sip of coffee. Oh, right. I canceled it. Silence. You what? I canceled the reservation, I said calmly. You said you were bringing Melissa instead of me, so I figured you would want to book your own trip. I got a full refund. It is already processing. Are you serious right now? Rachel's voice climbed higher. You canceled it without telling me? You invited someone else without asking me. I said. I just assumed you had it handled. Connor, this is insane. We drove 2 hours. We are standing in the lobby with our bags. You could have told me. You could have asked before giving away my spot on a trip I paid for, I said. But hey, the resort has availability. You are welcome to book a room yourself. They have a couple suites left. Around $600 a night. I heard Melissa's voice in the background, asking what was happening. Rachel covered the phone, her muffled voice explaining the situation. When she came back on, she sounded furious. This is childish, Connor. You are punishing me because I wanted to help a friend. I am not punishing anyone, I said. You made a decision about the trip. I made a decision about my money. That seems fair. We will talk about this when I get home. She hung up. I set my phone down. I refilled my coffee. The apartment felt quiet and empty, but for the first time in months, I did not feel like I was disappearing into the background. Update 1. Rachel and Melissa did not book a room at Coral Bay. According to the string of texts I received over the next 2 hours, they tried 3 other resorts along the coast, but everything was either fully booked or outside their budget. They ended up driving home. By 1 p.m., Rachel walked through the apartment door, her face tight with anger. Melissa was with her, looking uncomfortable. We need to talk, Rachel said, dropping her bag on the floor. Okay, I said. In private. Melissa mumbled something about waiting in the car and slipped out. Rachel crossed her arms and stared at me. What you did today was petty and mean, she said. What I did was cancel a reservation I paid for, I said. You gave away my spot without asking. I do not see how that is unfair. I was trying to be a good friend. Melissa is going through a hard time, and I was trying to celebrate our anniversary. You didn't care about that. Rachel's jaw tightened. You are twisting this. I told you that you could go another time. I did not think you would react like some scorned teenager. I reacted like someone who is tired of being treated like a backup plan, I said. She laughed bitterly. A backup plan? Connor, I have been planning our future. I have been talking about moving in together, about trips we could take next year. And you pull this stunt because I wanted to help a friend for one weekend. You have been planning things, sure, I said. You plan, and I go along with it. You decide, and I nod. But the second I make a decision you do not like, I am petty and mean. Rachel stared at me. So what? This is some kind of power move. You are going to start acting like this every time you do not get your way. No, I said. This is me realizing I do not have to agree to everything just to keep the peace. She shook her head. You are being ridiculous. Maybe, I said. But I am not the one who drove 2 hours to a resort without checking if the reservation was still active. Her face flushed. She grabbed her bag and walked toward the door. I need space. I am going to stay at Melissa's for a few days. Okay, I said. She paused, clearly expecting me to beg her to stay. When I did not, she yanked the door open and left. Update 2. Over the next 3 days, I heard nothing from Rachel directly, but I heard plenty from her friends. Melissa texted me Saturday night. What you did was messed up. Rachel is crying. She thought you were different. Another friend, Jenna, sent me a message Sunday morning. You really humiliated her in front of me. That was not cool. I did not reply to any of them. There was nothing to say. Rachel had spun the story to make me the villain. She left out the part where she gave away my anniversary trip. She left out the part where she did not ask, just informed. She left out the part where I paid for everything. But not everyone bought her version. On Monday afternoon, I got a text from Rachel's cousin, Amy. Hey, I heard what happened this weekend. Rachel told me her side, but it did not add up. Did she really invite Melissa on a trip you paid for without asking you? I sent her a simple reply. Yes. Amy responded immediately. That is so messed up. I am sorry. She has been pulling stuff like this for years. I am surprised you put up with it as long as you did. That message hit me harder than I expected. Rachel's own cousin was not surprised. She had seen this pattern before. I was just the latest person to tolerate it. Tuesday evening, Rachel finally called. Her tone was different. Softer. Almost apologetic. Can we talk? She asked. Sure, I said. I have been thinking about what you said. About feeling like a backup plan. Maybe I did not handle things the best way. Okay, I said. But I still think canceling the trip without telling me was extreme. You embarrassed me in front of Melissa. You made me look bad. You embarrassed yourself, I said. You assumed I would just accept being replaced and that the reservation would magically still be there. I did not think you would be this petty. And I did not think you would replace me on our anniversary trip, I said. Guess we both learned something. She sighed. So what now? Are we just done? I do not know, I said honestly. But I am done being the person who always bends. If that is a problem, then maybe we are done. She hung up without saying goodbye. Update 3. A week later, Rachel showed up at my apartment unannounced. She looked tired. Her eyes were red. I messed up, she said quietly. I have been talking to people. To Amy. To my mom. They all said the same thing. I have been treating you like you do not matter. Like your feelings are optional. I leaned against the doorframe. And I am sorry, she said. I got so used to you going along with everything that I stopped seeing you as a partner. I started seeing you as someone who would always be there no matter what I did. That is exactly what happened, I said. She nodded. I want to fix this. I want to do better. Do you? I asked. Or do you just want things to go back to how they were? I want to do better, she said. I know I hurt you. I know I took you for granted. If you give me another chance, I will prove it. I looked at her. Part of me wanted to believe her. Part of me wanted to let her in, reset everything, go back to the version of us that felt easier. But another part of me, the part that had been growing louder over the past 2 weeks, knew better. I appreciate the apology, I said. But I do not think this is going to work. Her face fell. Connor, please. You did not just make one mistake, I said. You have been making the same mistake for 2 years. And I let you, because I thought being accommodating made me a good boyfriend. But it just made me invisible. I will change, she said. Maybe you will, I said. But I should not have to cancel a trip to prove I have boundaries. I should not have to fight for basic respect. That should be the baseline. She stared at me, tears sliding down her cheeks. So this is it. We are just over. Yeah, I said. We are. She stood there for a long moment, like she was waiting for me to take it back. When I did not, she turned and walked away. In the weeks that followed, I heard updates through mutual friends. Rachel tried to frame the breakup as a mutual decision, but the story kept shifting. Some people heard I was controlling. Others heard I overreacted to a small misunderstanding. A few people heard the actual truth. Amy reached out again. I talked to Rachel. She admitted she messed up. She is struggling with the breakup, but she knows it was her fault. Melissa, surprisingly, sent me an apology text. I did not know the full story when Rachel invited me. I would not have gone if I knew it was your anniversary trip. I feel awful. I appreciated the message, but it did not change anything. The damage was not in the trip itself. It was in the years of dismissiveness that led to that moment. Rachel unfollowed me on social media. Mutual friends stopped tagging us together. The relationship faded into something that existed only in past tense conversations. And I felt lighter. 2 months after the breakup, I rebooked Coral Bay Resort. This time, I went alone. I checked into the same oceanfront suite I had reserved for Rachel and me. I watched the sunrise from the balcony. I had breakfast at the rooftop restaurant. I rented a paddleboard and spent an afternoon drifting in the calm water. On the last night, I sat on the beach and watched the waves roll in under a sky full of stars. I thought about the person I had been 2 years ago, eager to please, afraid to make waves, convinced that love meant shrinking myself to fit someone else's expectations. I thought about the person I was becoming, someone who knew the difference between compromise and erasure, someone who understood that boundaries were not punishments, they were foundations. The trip I had planned for Rachel became the trip that taught me I did not need anyone else's approval to take up space in my own life. When I got home, I deleted Rachel's contact from my phone, not out of anger, but out of closure. She was part of my past, a chapter that taught me what I would not tolerate in my future. 3 months later, I started seeing someone new. Her name was Clara, and the first time we made plans, she asked, "Does this work for you? Or would you rather do something else?" It was such a simple question, but it was the first time in years someone had asked what I wanted before deciding for me. I smiled. That works for me. And it did. People sometimes ask me if I regret how I handled things with Rachel, if I think canceling the trip was too harsh, if I should have given her another chance. The answer is no. I do not regret protecting my own boundaries. I do not regret refusing to be treated like an accessory in my own relationship. And I do not regret walking away from someone who only valued me when I stopped demanding to be valued. The beach trip I paid for was supposed to be about celebrating 2 years together. Instead, it became the moment I stopped celebrating someone who did not celebrate me. Rachel texted me once, about 6 months after the breakup. "I have been thinking about us a lot. I really did love you. I just did not know how to show it." I read the message. I thought about replying. But in the end, I just archived the conversation and kept moving forward. Some people do not know how to love you the way you deserve, and that is not your job to fix. I learned that on a beach in Coral Bay, watching the sunrise alone, finally understanding that solitude is not the same as loneliness. Sometimes, the best trip you ever take is the one where you learn to choose yourself.